Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Motorsport Manager, the Underdog Challenge. And today we run the final race of our first season in the World Motorsport Championship. It has been a long season, as you can see, with its ups and downs. We did actually get 2 podiums so far, 3 if you count the double podium we got. The American race for us was very good, and then also last episode in Brazil we managed to snag a surprise 3rd spot with Tulipano. All in all, a pretty successful season, I would say. We started off with the worst car, and on paper, apparently, we still have the 9th worst car. But I think in actuality, if you look at the parts that we are that we have right now and that we would be able to fit on our car, I think we would be a lot better. As you can see, we're really up there with the engine. We're doing good on the gearbox, decent on the suspension, subpar on the rear wing, but we've only managed to make 2 parts so far, so to already see it this high is a good sign. And these 2 parts are going to be spec parted next season. So I think we've had an incredibly efficient season, managing to probably snag 5th, and unless something goes really wrong here with Van Dort Racing. I don't think it will. I don't think there's any double points for the final race of the season like there is in the other 2 competitions, or there was for us at least. I'm just trying to see. No, I don't think it's there. So yeah, that should pretty much lock in our spot unless somehow Van Dort Racing gets a 1-2, which is not that likely. So yeah, that should be very good for us. Dubai, obviously, gonna be bone dry. Well, I say that, but during qualifying, apparently there's gonna be some rain. So interesting. Top speed will be crucial, deceleration crucial, and high speed corners. Yeah, only in top speed are we pretty good. The other 2 not so much. But let's see what we can do. For anyone wondering, by the way, if you remember, yes, I did renew everyone's contracts. As you can see. Obviously during the early seasons, I once forgot, and then we had to painfully go through everything again. So let's not do that again. As you can see, also, we have a 0.1% mistake chance. Unfortunately, I couldn't get anyone to swap out with that had less. So that is just something we're going to have to take. It's fine, to be honest. 0.1 shouldn't matter too much. And we have a great pit crew right now. We're 2nd on the grid. Only 2 seconds of pit time. Should be really good. And yeah, let's see what we can do in the final race of the season. Before we do that, actually, let's have a quick look. Is there anything exciting going on in the off-season that we can already tell? Well, first of all, there is Vahovsky, whose contract will run out in 2 months. Our other 2 drivers do have long contracts still locked up, so Tulipano will be there for at least 1 more season, unless we decide to pay 5.7 million, which I don't think we will. And Farah is still there for 2 more seasons. He's just a reliable backup driver who is also a paid driver and has a good feedback skill. So I don't see any reason at all to get rid of him, especially since he's so cheap. Like, we actually profit off him. Vahovsky, I'm really not sure we're going to renew him. I think it'll depend. I mean, he is really cheap for pretty good stats. He has smoothness that tends to be in the top bracket. Yeah, his tire life is actually on par with that of Tulipano, but we do notice that he does tend to do worse in races. Now, that can also be because we keep giving him the worst parts, but still, I think even at the start of races, when ideally they should be somewhat on par, Tulipano tends to edge him out. We'll have to see. So that's it for drivers. If we look then at our staff, we locked down Whitehouse, Schaffer, and Dubois for another full season, so I definitely don't intend to swap them out, also because they already have what we want. They have fine stats, they have fine perks, and so I don't really see any reason to get rid of them, also because some of them are rather cheap, Dubois especially, but also even our lead designer, yes, she's expensive, but she has really good stats, and she has good parts, so I don't see any point in doing that. Alright, that should be good. 17 days till the Dubai Grand Prix. In the meantime, we do need to still work on some parts. As you can see, we just finished another rear wing. Let's go quickly through the messages and then we'll build another one. As was planned, of course. Car condition, we didn't crash anything, so that is all perfectly fine. Hamilton had a bit of a disaster in the race, finishing down in 7th. What is our analysis? We did butter him up, so we shouldn't piss him off now and make him not want to join our team, because we do have that potential if we want. Looking at Scuderia Rossini, their team looks weak. This actually costs them some team marketability, which is really good for us. So I think that's what we'll end up doing. Yeah, let's do that. I think we already buttered them up, so there's no point in doing that again. So let's hurt Scuderia Rossini a little bit, because that's just funny to me. Our fastest pit stop was 2.3 seconds. Fine. Surikov wins in Rio. And yeah, this is the rear wing that we just built. And let's have a quick look. If we want to build another one, we would do it like this, that, and this one. Now this one we can't even go for another higher tier because we don't have simulator level 2. Yeah, this perk is fine. That's the one we would have taken, I suppose. Could have also gone for a random legendary component, but yeah, we're not upgrading our simulator to level 2. Question now is, are we going to be able to still get this up to a level that we want? And I think, honestly, 8 days before the race, this part will be done. We need to upgrade it then by 90 points. I'm not sure it'll be completely finished, but we can definitely get it to a high enough level where I feel like it's worth to at least build it. It didn't cost us that much, so I think that's perfectly fine. Let's wait till the car has repaired, and then we'll do our final performance work, which, as you can see, will be very quickly done. Have a quick look. Yeah, we're still working on that suspension. The brake set we don't need to improve because we're going to spec part it. Front wing is going to get spec parted too, so no point there. So every single top 2 parts basically need to be at their maximum level, and then we're good to go. Basically, that means we need to also improve this one, this rear wing that we can get to 1200. That's one that we're going to take with. Suspension is going to be good. So yeah, basically every part that we want the top 2 for will be upgraded as much as possible. And then once that last final rear wing is finished building, we'll also put all our mechanics to work on that. So we're going to have like 2 days of downtime where we're not actually improving anything, but that's fine. We don't need it, to be honest. Publicity opportunity from Ernie Hecklerock. Here at the GMA, we've been watching Avio Tulipano for a while now, and we feel that he's a perfect example of the good, clean values that our organization represent. What? Am I reading that right? Here at the GMA, blah, blah, blah. Clean values that our organization represents. Okay. Ernie apparently typed this email very quickly. Without actually checking it. As a personal favor to me, would you permit us to use Avio in our upcoming media campaigns? It might be a little distracting for Avio, but having Uncle Ernie owing you a favor is not something to be sniffed at. So this actually is a pretty darn good, basically, deal, right? We get 1 vote and we get 500,000. Problem is he's going to be publicity pawn, which I think probably just makes his focus a little bit worse from the top of my head. I think I've had the perk once, but I don't remember what I did with it. His focus is already only 12, but I don't imagine it stays that long. And we're also at the final bit of the season, so probably this will stay for, what, a few months, I assume. By the time we actually have our first race in the next season, if we do decide to renew Avio, then, well, that's fine either way. Actually, Avio will be there. It's Vohovsky that we need to decide on, but I think, yeah, this is a good deal. 500,000 plus a voting power, especially after we used quite a few votes during this season. That is pretty good. And let's see what that is going to cost us. You are now a publicity pawn for only 8 weeks. It's going to cost you only 10 morale, actually. I thought it would cost him some focus, because in the message it said it would make him lose focus a little. Yeah, this is a really good deal. Basically free money and a vote. That brings us now up to, it doesn't show anymore, but probably, what, 5 votes or so? So that's very good. Thank you, Uncle Ernie. That should be very nice for us. All right, let's now wait. Oh, don't click OK again. That is the final part of the season that we're building. First, Darren here tells us that we're doing great. We are in 5th when we were expected to do 7th, so that is obviously a good result. And this is the final part that we're going to be using. We could build one more. I just don't see where we could build it that would actually make sense. Obviously, brakes and front wing going to be spec parted. Suspension, rear wing, gearbox, and engine are now at a level where it's just going to take too much time to build. So I don't see the point. We could do this, for example, right? Like, whoop, and whoop, whoop, and then this. Would be great. It's 3 days after the race. I don't think it'll even be done before the new season sort of kicks in. So I don't think there's a point. We tried to do this once, and then it cost us all the money and didn't actually give us the part. And also, we won't be able to actually improve it. So we'd be completely banking on this random legendary component to be really good. Like, let's say it gives us the plus 100, which is about as good as it gets, or plus 120. We would still be barely at the maximum that we're already going to bring this rear wing to, the one that we just built. So, yeah, we're going to just keep our money. We're going to completely focus now on improving this rear wing. Definitely not going to be done in time before season end. But we'll see how far we get. If we can get anything that we get above 1200 is basically a bonus to us. And let's see. Maybe in hindsight, we could have built it like that. This, and then maybe this one. But I guess it'll depend on how high we can get it anyway. So it doesn't matter too much. We'll see. All right. Gonna continue all the way until race day, and then we'll see how well we did with that part. We're also getting the message now that some contracts are running down. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's only for Vovsky, so we'll have to see. I think we'll just get him again. I mean, he's super cheap. He's a good second driver. He doesn't complain much. And he does all right, honestly. I mean, he's not that far down the pecking order from Tulipano. Yes, he got quite a few less points, but that's also because of like 1 or 2 really good results from Tulipano where he just got a lot more points. Generally, I think for the car that we are giving Boris, he is a very valid member. He's Bottas, basically. He does well enough. He's not extraordinary, but he does good, and he's a good teammate, so we'll see. As you can see also, I think right here, when we click the proceed to next season button, that is also when anything stops. So basically part development, part improvement by our team, whatever else, it all stops right there. So that is also where we basically need to make sure that we don't have anything going on anymore. Means we're not going to be able to be done with this rear wing, I think. But I'm hoping we can get it to like 1230, 1240 at least. The engineers are going to keep working, I think, during race weekend. So hopefully that goes well. We have a few more days basically to improve this rear wing as much as possible. But at the very least, it's already above what it was, which is 1200. So not too bad. All right. Having done all that, let's actually get into the race. What are we doing this race? Well, it is only 24 laps. So we can definitely just do a one stop, I think. It's gonna be not that warm. Looks like only 16 degrees. Let's have a look at the race report for the rain. Okay, so it should be bone dry, you said, with a 0% chance of rain. But we do see rain during qualifying. So bone dry doesn't always work, apparently. But yeah. 24 laps. It is a rather long amount of time that you're going to be spending on each lap. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. At the shortest, basically, that is the lap record. High-speed circuit should favor the Rossini, aka Ferrari. Super softs and softs are going to be the name of the game. We'll have to see, I think, when we get in-game during practice. We'll have to see how long Tulipano can make use of these tires. We might do one soft, one super soft. We might do 2 super softs. We might do 3 super softs, but I would rather not, especially with no rain predicted. As always, anyway, we're going to bring 8 sets of supers and 4 of regular softs. That should be fine regardless, to be honest. And then we'll see how we do. All right, there is the season ender in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and it is a pretty darn cool track, as you can see. Lots of looping around and lots of different track layouts too, but I think we have a pretty cool one regardless. Would be cool to have this little like bend here. I don't think we don't have it, but that's okay. Yeah, we've been here before. We saw the huge hotel with the pool on top. I would love to stay there, but I don't think I can afford that. All right, we'll as always, just bring Farah and Tulipano. And one of you actually said in the last episode in the comments that it shouldn't matter which setup you do, that they should be the same for car 1 and car 2. I've always been just using the same one. And the reason for that is actually pretty simple, because if you look here, right, like try and remember what these look like, the green bars for downforce, handling, and speed balance. Now, I think if we go to, oh, we can just see them side by side here, right? These are completely different. At the very least, the downforce, like one bit is all the way on the left, one bit is all the way on the right. Speed balance is quite different. Handling looks the same, I'll admit. But that is actually why I thought that these setups basically were per car. And that made sense to me because the cars are different generally, right? They have different parts. They have different speeds and whatever else. But apparently, like, that might not be the case. So let's try that out, actually. It's the last race of the season, so let's have some fun. And let's just pick one of these two. As you can see, they were different setups in the end, so I'm curious. Let's see if one car does substantially worse with this. This was the setup for car 1, so that should be Farah's car. And then we'll go for car 2. But we'll pick my car 1 setup, and let's see. I'm very curious. Super softs are gonna last 10 to 12. That is really pushing it. That basically means we need to make 12 happen, and I don't think that's possible with Tulipano or Vovsky. That means probably we'll do one set of super, one set of softs. I think that's the way to go here. We'll start on the supers, get as much power out of them as possible. Probably pit around 10 to 11 laps, and then we'll use the softs for the remainder. I think that's what makes the most sense to me. We'll still first get the super soft to tier 3, just because, well, they're the best for qualifying. But yeah, we'll probably do a one stop on each tire. All right, let's make sure we're on race trim. And let's see then how this does with the same setup. I might be a fool. As I said before, I've never used the save mechanic too much. I always did just enjoy using the doing the little mini game to get the right setup just by myself, starting from 0. But well, now that we're using it, let's test a little bit and see if I've been a fool for saving both cars with a different setup for so long. And they're both going to come in now. So, wow, okay. Farah is basically perfect. We don't need to do anything about that. 95%. Let's just send you out for 12 laps. And this was the car 1 setup. So let's see now for car 2 what that means. Also great, great, great. Okay, so I'd say the test is a resounding success. N is 1, so the sample size is not that great. But yeah, this seems to be really good. 93%, also perfectly fine. Let's just keep you out now. Okay, interesting. That actually makes this a lot easier, I suppose. My bad. If I taught you to do it for different cars, if you play this game now that way because of me, then I apologize. I've made you save probably some car setups for nothing. Yeah, I always just thought that that was the way this game worked, but I never bothered looking it up, and thanks for teaching me. Because, yeah, that actually saved some time. Alright, we loaded our cars up completely on fuel, so it makes sense we're right down at the bottom in terms of speed. I think if you discount that we should have like at least 8 laps less of fuel in there, we should be right around the middle. So let's hope we will be still during come race day. Yeah, let's just run this all the way down to tier 3. As you can see, it's 25 degrees, I believe it said. Yeah, that was 25. Yeah. Speed is going up even by just being on yellow. On race day itself, we won't have that same luck if all stays as the forecast, because it did say something like 16 degrees. I think then we really can't count on keeping our tires warmed up. Should have probably brought in Tulipano at least, but that's okay. Yeah, we did need a tiny little bit more knowledge, and now we're gonna waste a whole another lap of 2 minutes on both guys, but that's okay. Let's send them out now for qualifying and regular softs as long as possible. There you go. Same for Tulipano. Go on qualifying, regular softs. There you go. All right. So yeah, what's the strategy for this race? Most likely, like I said, we'll just go one super soft, one soft. We can't count on rain or anything like that. But I would really like to just do a one stopper. And that if that means we have to sacrifice performance a little bit in order to... well, actually, we do have the long tire perk for Tulipano. That does mean for him, we should definitely be able to just do 2 super softs. I think for Bohovsky, it will still just stay the same. So 1 super, 1 regular soft stint. Looks like we're going to get tier 2, both for qualifying and soft tires. That's fine. Yeah, the longer the laps, as always, like I say, the longer the laps, the longer it takes you to get knowledge. So it makes perfect sense on 2-minute laps that we're not getting tier 3 maxed out. That's perfectly fine. And let's see, qualifying then. Doesn't look like there's rain, but it looks like there will be. So let's immediately get out there. We're going to use some super softs, as always, and we're just going to go as soon as we can. Just so we can get the most out of our lap. I'm not sure we'll be in before the rain starts. We have that's gonna be tough, I think. But let's just send them out as soon as we can and see how we can do here. Our drivers go as soon as basically the red light was given, or the green light. Does look like it will dry up again, so maybe we didn't really need to do this. Doesn't matter so much anyway. We don't need that many tires, so we can afford to waste a few. I just wanted to make sure we'd get a dry as lap as possible, but honestly, with how long these laps are, we wouldn't even have gotten a good time, I think. Doesn't matter too much, we're just gonna wait now. Actually, I should have just brought them in, I think, but shouldn't matter too much. I think either way, we should get a good lap out there. We probably have one of the best times you can have. We need about 2 minutes for an outlap, so let's wait a little bit until we've passed the 6 mark. I want to be out when it's as dry as possible, and it doesn't look like it'll rain again. And we're definitely not going to do 3, so let's just make sure we get the last stint as good as it can be. So that should be right around when we have the most track grip. We're actually just going to wait for quite a while, make sure that the track heats up as much as it can. And Modi, you with your Inter, that's not going to be a good qualifying for you, buddy. You don't want to be on Inters right now. Looks like everyone else did pick correctly, but... as always, we just need to make sure we cross the finish line before the session ends, and then we get to finish our lap, so that's perfectly fine. I think we're going to just send them out now. Track should be heating up slowly, as you can see. So by the time we're actually out there, that should be fine, I believe. It's just not heating up that much anyway, so... Well, we're just going to try. We're going to get as good as a lap as we can, hopefully. And see what we can do here. Not improving... with Tulipan, well, slightly improving, but yeah, not going too well yet. Let's see once we get out of sector 3 what happens. Lots of people are overtaking us right now, so that doesn't bode too well. To be honest, track rep never really went up too much. Tulipano, wow, that is some really great times there. There's still going to be a lot of people that are probably going to go over us, but that was some good times we said. They're only 0.2 behind Hamilton, who is still on a lap, but not improving so far. Surikov looks like he might be getting pole here. Double purpling so far. So he's on a flying lap. Taft so far ahead of us. Lipponen also jumped over Simferbecker. And probably these guys will as well, but let's see. Hamilton doesn't look like he's going to improve. So he's already above us, so that doesn't matter. Wigdal, Sharp. Okay, so the usual suspects are above us right now. Schmidt, Blasi, and Fox, what are they gonna do? I think whoever that was also just jumped us. Fox doesn't, so in the end, 9th and 11th, definitely not what we wanted to go for, but... Well, the usual suspects are above us, and this track doesn't suit us that well, in my opinion. So it does kind of make sense. that we would be sort of just a middling pack, but hopefully with our strategy we can still push for that sponsor objective and do a bit better. That would be nice. Alright, let's see. Race day looking sunny, but not that warm like we suspected, only 16 degrees, so I think for Vovsky, what we're gonna do is just do race trim and fuel economy. Like I said, if we're gonna have to swap in between tires, it's not like he's gonna enjoy the bonus for either of these for too long. So let's make sure actually he can burn a lot of fuel then. For Avio, I think what we're gonna do is do race trim and light-footed super softs. That means he does at least get to go on super softs for most of the race, or well, the entire race basically. He can make these last probably now to at least 12, if not 13. And that should be fine for the race. Yeah, for Boris, like I said, we're gonna start him on the supers, but bring him to regular softs probably, unless he can somehow make these last at 12. I don't see that happening, but let's see. All right, as always, we attack on the first lap, and then we'll bring it back after, and let's see how we do. Starting in the middle of the grid, so that should at least make for some entertaining racing. And off we go. Horrible start for Vovsky, who actually then also body blocks Tulipano. So yeah, that was just about as bad as you could have done, Vovsky. Tulipano does overtake him, picks himself back up to 12th at least. But yeah, this is not a great first few turns for us, I must say. That is a shame. But, oh, what can you do, right? Vovsky already down in 16th. Tulipano here with some really good moves though, manages to get himself up to 9th, fighting 8th against Sharp here. But we are going to need to bring back the resources a little bit soon-ish. So we do need to make sure we conserve at the very least our tires. Fuel I'm not too concerned about, but we can't go for too long here on red. So let's bring that back a little bit. I think Vovsky should be able to stay on orange pretty much the entire race. Tulipano probably not. Gonna need to bring him back at some point. Vovsky actually did get back a little bit. He should be, to be honest, because he's fighting mainly runners on the regular softs. So if he wasn't, that would be a much bigger problem. But yeah, we do need to make sure that these tires just start actually lasting. So let's bring those to yellow mode. Fuel, I definitely don't mind running. And let's keep on keeping on. All right, very long track. So far, only 3 seconds behind Lipponen, who is in first, so not too bad here. Not too upset with the start. It wasn't a great start, but we managed to recover pretty decently. So good on Avio and Boris here, making sure that they got the car where they needed it to go. Maybe in hindsight for Vovsky, we should have just taken the super soft perk, because he is kind of really close in terms of fuel to Tulipano. That perk is just not doing us wonders. I think maybe the fuel saving perk is just a lot better when your car isn't that good at saving fuel. Our car is, so probably all in all it just doesn't matter that much. Big gap between us and 7th, though there is also a pretty decent gap now between us and 9th, so we're sort of doing the George Russell thing where we are, well, slower than the top, but we're a lot quicker than the rest, so interesting how that goes. Just kind of an okay position to be in, but not really where we want to be at. As you can see, Tulipano is making his tires last a little bit longer than Vovsky's. Already about 10% ahead of him. So that should be okay. Eventually, if we need to, we can start conserving the tires a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, the heat isn't going up or down too much. That should be okay. And let's run it for a while. Pretty decent gap now between us and Lavoie, who is actually pushing her tires pretty hard if she's sort of on equal footing with us. Vovsky, meanwhile, just not doing that well. Remember, buddy, you're fighting for a contract extension right now, so are you sure you want to be behind 2 people on regular softs? Because that doesn't bode well for you. Yeah. Tulipano really just on an island now, like 2.5 seconds behind the Graaf, but also about 2.5 seconds ahead of Lavoie. Hopefully our one-stop saves us, but I can't imagine that no one else is on a one-stop either, to be honest. With 24 laps, this is just prime one-stop fodder, let's say. It would be very strange, to be honest, if people now decided to do a 2-stopper. But, well, you can hope. And if people do need to go on regular softs just to make it work, that could definitely play in our favor. Since we're probably going to get to do 2 stints on supers, at least with Tulipano. The way I'm looking at it now, definitely not with Fallback though. We need to make it at least to 14 to 16 on the regular stuff, so let's say we can do 15. So we need to make it at least to 15 laps left. That should definitely be possible with Fallback. At some point though, we might need to pull back a little bit on these percentages. And just making sure that we actually will last. But so far, not too bad. I really like this track, by the way. Just the palm trees everywhere, the huge grandstand. I think this might be one of the biggest ones. Well, it's not the grandstand, I think, but just that stand all the way around the corners. That is so cool. It just swerves around. Yeah, it's cool. All right, we're getting semi-close to the cliff now for the super soft. How many more laps can we do? Let's pause right here. We have till 15%, so if we conserve now for a little while, we should be okay. Because we've only done 8 laps actually, and we need to make at least another 2 work, I think. And that's going to be tough without conserving. So let's start conserving now. Probably can do the same with Tulipano, to be honest. Just make sure that we actually make it. And that should be fine then. Want to be around 22% near the end of this lap, I think, with Fallback, and then we should be fine. You are getting overtaken now, makes sense, as people are on fresher tires. And Wigtow is actually coming in already. He's going to have to go to regular softs if he wants then to make a 1-stop work. Nope, he's going to supers. That means Wigtow is in for a 2-stopper, which could be very good for us. Alright, we made it to 24% when we crossed the finish line, so definitely not bad. I think we can just go to yellow. Engine mode for you, same. I don't want to drop the temperature too quick. And as we said, we're going to do regular softs. It says 15 laps remaining, but that's perfectly fine. Gonna be 14 by the time we cross the finish line. But by the time Lipponen here crosses the finish line. So we're gonna bring in Fallback. For Tulipano, you need to last at least 2 more laps, I suppose. You're right at the end of the final lap, so let's cross the finish line first and then have a quick look at your tire percentage. You should be able to do at least 2 more laps, and if we really wanted to, we could maybe try and make them last a little while longer. Lots of people coming into the pits. Let's have a look, because if they are doing regular softs or super softs, they're not going to make it till the end of the race. Wigtow here, he's not making it. If you barely lasted 10 laps on your first stint, how are you going to make it to the end with another 14 laps to go? But let's see how that goes. Probably going to put you back a little bit on your fuel as well. 33%. Right now we have 14 laps remaining, so we do need to make it another 2 laps, but that's definitely possible while we're at 33%. And also remember, on the next stint we won't be running on red and orange mode for too long with those tires, so I think, well, another 12 should definitely be possible. Good pit for Fallback. That was 2.1, pretty good. I think we can do 2 if we focus hard. Yeah, it looks like most other people are choosing to go on regular soft, so that is a smart play. Only Wigtow probably is going to have to do a 2-stopper. I don't think anyone else will have to, but good to keep an eye on that. Alright, then Tulipano, you're gaining some of your fuel back. Gonna keep you out for another stint here. 13 laps remaining, so yeah, we're just gonna bring you in on the next one. And since we are doing that, we might as well have you use a little bit more of your tire, right? Hamilton is actually the only other one that made it work for the same amount of time as us with the supers. So that is cool. Alright, then let's line up your pit stop now. We could have potentially made it another lap, but I think I'm okay with this. The last stint should be the easiest one relative for the tire lift that we have. So let's see. Hopefully a good pit stop. Yeah, that is good. 2.2, a little bit slower than Fallback's, but definitely nothing too bad. And we have a very large gap already between Tulipano and Vovsky. Interesting. Alright, so did we come out behind some people that we weren't meant to be behind? Not really, I think. Everyone that's ahead of us that has pitted was already significantly ahead of us, so that's definitely nothing too weird, to be honest. And now we just run on yellow, and I think we should be perfectly fine to run for another 11 laps. If really need be, we can bring down our tire mode a little bit, but I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah, so let's see. Woodford going for another set of super softs. That should definitely be fine. I mean, basically anyone that's coming in now from the regular soft is gonna have their last stint on super softs, most likely. But with only 10 laps to go, I don't see why you wouldn't. But they're gonna be quite behind us, because they are running on really old tires. We're just so much quicker than their pace. I think we made up 5 seconds compared to Lavoie. So that is really good pace actually on that new set of tires that we have. Let's start using also some more fuel so we can set some really good lap times, hopefully. And yeah, we're hunting a few people ahead of us, namely Gonzalez. Flores definitely needs to come in soon. Lavalle, of course. And like I said, Wigdow, he's gonna have to do another pit, I'm pretty sure. So that is gonna cost him for sure a top 10 spot, I think. But let's see. Alright, Gonzalez is looking like he's going to come in. There's a bit of a train here ahead of us. I hope that they'll clear out quick, just so we can pass them easily without having to try and overtake everyone. The Gonzalez move was not that hard, but... Sorry, I had to cough there for a second. Yeah, that train is still there. That's annoying. Well, actually, that train is the people that already pitted once. They're just on regular soft. Old softs too, so... we might actually be able to get pretty near them. Our pace is pretty good. Not as good as Liponen's, but that makes sense. She has a Mercedes. Alright. Looking pretty good in terms of tire life and tire temperature. Becker is sort of gaining on us, but he's going to hit his sort of lower bandwidth on his tires soon. So he should start getting slower, I think. And yeah, I don't know about these guys. I mean, we are slowly gaining on them, I think, but I'm not sure that that is actually good enough. We do have some good pace, though, right now. So let's see. Alright, once we cross the finish, I think that should be what? 7 laps left? 6? 7, yeah, okay. Fair enough. We are at 70%, so that should be pretty much fine. And like I said, if we really need to, we can bring down the temperature a little bit. I think for you, we're actually going to put you on orange for a tiny while. And we do need to start getting some fuel back. Same for you, actually. Let's make sure we have enough. Right now, we're not attacking anyone, and we're also not getting attacked. So let's make use of that time and start getting some of the fuel that we want to be using near the end of the race, hopefully. Yeah, Wigdow is going to have a rough time, actually. Alright, you are gaining on us rather quickly. Yeah, Wigdow now coming into the pit, so he's going to be way behind. Probably even going to be behind Tulipa or Velfsky. Maybe? No. Actually body blocks us completely. Fair enough. Alright. Probably going to put you back to high mode now. Try and defend against Becker here. But we are provisionally right now at least in the... above our sponsor objective, so that would be great. We are the only one on supers right now in this bracket, but that does mean our tire is going to drop off quicker than theirs. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to put you back to yellow now. Be okay. Yeah, as soon as we started giving a bit more fuel to Tulipano, you can see that we're actually pulling away from Becker there a little bit, and Becker is also using less fuel now, a very low engine mode, and conserving their tires. That probably means they're going to try and get a proper attack going down the line, but let's just make sure we have good pace, and then hopefully we can defend against that. We would love to have a bit more of a gap than 1.2, but we don't get to control that right now, so let's just give it everything. Yeah, they're pushing right now very hard. Come on, Becker. Don't give it all you've got. Becker is gonna hit their cliff, I think, very soon at 37%. Yeah, that should be a few percentage points off of their cliff. whereas we still have ours for a while, so hopefully that works out. Gonna keep it on medium fuel. I don't want to go overtake for too long because that just makes it so we have to actually conserve fuel for quite a while afterwards. So we're gonna just keep it at this, and hopefully that's enough. They should be hitting their cliff really soon though. Like right around 30% usually that lowest bandwidth comes in, so let's hope that yeah, they're conserving now, so that was their attack. Didn't work out. Let's hope that it stays that way. You now have excess fuel, so let's start pushing a little bit too. So you are right in that train with everyone. You're 17th. Honestly, we're not gonna look at Fovsky much at all. Filipano is where it's at. Looks like Becker is still just conserving, so that should be good for our times. The Graaf, Becker, yeah, basically everyone over there should now be in their lowest bandwidth for tires. That should be very good for us. And with 40% and only 3 laps to go, we might actually consider going a bit on the offensive here with push mode. That would allow us to bring back our fuel, hopefully for free. Yeah, we're only gonna have 2 laps remaining soon, and around 30% should still be fine. If really need be, we could always push back a little bit while conserving, but hope that won't be necessary. Let's go for a little while longer on orange mode. But we do need to probably bring it back at some point. Your tire wear is hurting you, but you have still 10%, so I think you should be fine. Either way, honestly, I don't really care. 16th, 14th, 13th, 12th. It all doesn't matter. It doesn't get us points, so I don't really care. You're just gonna have to work with what you got, basically. Last lap right now, so we should be perfectly. Honestly, we can just run on push mode, I think, for the rest of the race. That's perfect because we did need to conserve fuel for quite a while there just to break even. And that's where we're at right now, so we can probably go back on high engine mode for the end here. Yeah, for you, I don't know, just keep running your race. Doesn't matter too much. Let's give you a bit of push. I think you're fine with 17%. Oh, and I think Becker actually, they hit their cliff or something? What happened? You got overtaken by everyone. No, you didn't hit your cliff. You're just not doing too well. Fair enough. Yeah, 5% left. We only need to take the last few corners, so perfectly fine. I think we're gonna just make it pretty perfectly timed with Tulipano here. Volsky still running his race, apparently overtaking someone. Felt really good for you. Okay, well, good job. And actually we get 6th in the end there. I think Lavoie did hit their... No, he didn't hit their cliff either. Who did we overtake then near the end? Oh, Lipponen went for a second pit as well. I didn't even notice that. We were too busy defending. That sucks for you, buddy. So, yeah. It was actually Wigged Out and Lipponen who both had a disaster class. Blasi as well. Yeah, just really unfortunate for them. But really good for us. Yeah, basically everyone that ended up high ended up doing a one-stopper. Lipponen really had this in the back, I felt. Like, yeah, it's a he. He should have been able to just make this work, no problem, I felt. But okay. We'll take the extra spot. That's 6 now. And that is probably what, like 6 points or so? Which we'll definitely take. Always nice. And there you go. Save it up. Make sure that we get it. And then we'll see. Alright. Yeah, that was a nice end to the season. I think we beat our main rivals, Van Dort Racing, once again. Managed to snag ourselves some points. And make sure that we actually secured that 5th place. That is very nice. 8 points in total. So, very good result for us there. Actually outperforming Lipponen by quite a bit. And yeah, Becker dropped down near the end there as well. Just pushed too much, trying to attack us. They should have ran their own race, basically, and just try and hold their resources up to a decent level. They didn't, and it cost them in the end, so very good for us. All right, that in the end got us above the 100-point mark. Very happy about that. Yeah, it doesn't look like it was a close race, but till I think 3 races ago, we were really, really close with Van Dort Racing, so incredibly happy that we managed to snag that 5th position. Didn't expect that at the start of the season, to be honest. As in the early races, we really just didn't do that well. We had the worst car by far. And our drivers aren't that great, of course, compared to the driver lineups. So, yeah, really good there, I think. Happy with the season. Basically, we upgraded our car as well as we could have. We got as many points as we could have. We made sure that we built up a little bit of a war chest for next season. Yeah, as you can see, we ended up with 40 million. And that is before basically all the prize money and whatever else will be paid out. So that is good. Zoe Sharp managed to get herself the driver championship. That wasn't really in question. But the constructors actually goes to the Ferrari drivers and their team principal, Rebecca Beatty. They're getting 62 million. Hopefully we'll get something like 50. That would be very nice for next season's car. But let's see. Anything can happen, of course. And yeah, very good. All right, I think we'll leave the actual end of the season till next episode, as I do want to do some tweaking. I want to scout around for some drivers. I'll do that off camera so as to not bore you for a full hour of me just clicking back and forth on drivers. Looking at it, I already see one interesting... Nope, you're not interesting. Actually, you're very uninteresting. I thought you were interesting, but yeah, 11 smoothness is already a deal breaker for me, and then 41% marketability is especially a deal breaker. Doesn't look like we have too many free agents right now. Wexler, you're alright, but I think you're not that big of an upgrade over to Volsky, to be honest. Actually, your smoothness is slightly worse, but it can definitely... No, actually, you're 34, so you can see that he's actually getting much worse very quickly. So yeah, probably will not be getting him. We can have a look. I'll go through the drivers. I'll see if there's anyone particularly interesting. Enrica Lara is rather interesting, as she is a pay driver and pretty good. 20 smoothness. Just this that I don't like. Your braking and cornering, your consistency, and your marketability. Actually, I didn't even have a look at that. So yeah, probably not that great. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'll basically do what I've just been doing for the last few minutes, but I'll do it off camera. Make sure that we have a good overview of what we want to do next episode before we end the season. It's actually pretty important because I believe before and after you click that button, it does usually matter what your current drivers will want in terms of earnings, whether they're even going to sign with you or not. So yeah, I'll be doing some testing. I'll see what we can find in terms of drivers. It's looking likely like I'll just renew Volsky for another season. He's just cheap. He's a Bottas. I don't mind having him, but we'll have a look. Right now, I think that is more than enough. We had a long season, but a very successful one in the end. Breaking the 100 point mark is also very nice. Very happy with that. I hope you enjoyed this entire season. It took a while, but I hope you also had a lot of fun. I sure did. And I can't wait to see you in the next season, our second season in the World Motorsport Championship, and we're gonna have such an upgraded car to play with. So that should be a lot of fun. I think we can actually try and push for some race wins, try and push for more steady podiums, and really just try and give that season our all, and really just have a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah, as always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. And yeah, see you then. Bye.